Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with Rimsky-Korsakov, Essential Works for Beginners. If you're just starting out in classical music or just getting into Rimsky-Korsakov, or you heard something that you know he wrote and you want to hear more, this is the place to begin. And like all of these lists, I want to caution everybody who wants to contribute. While we appreciate the suggestions, nothing should be added or taken away from this list. We don't allow that. The list is the list. So don't suggest any other works. Don't say you replace this with that. It's all getting deleted. This is to help people who are just getting started. And these are the pieces, because it's more than enough music. You know, the trouble we have, of course, is that there's such an abundance of riches in the world of classical music, and it's very easy to just glom on, especially if you're just starting. And that just, I feel, creates overload and confusion. So these are the 7 places, the 7 works that you can start if you like Rimsky-Korsakov, or if you want to get into Rimsky-Korsakov, pardon me. And if you like these, then, well, the sky's the limit. Just knock yourself out, because all of these pieces are talked about elsewhere on this site and on ClassicsToday.com. You can find recommendations for all of the best recordings. You can hear all of it on YouTube. It's all out there. You can stream it, and you have no problem getting to know all these pieces in excellent performances. So let's just leave it at that and go for the list. Now, one of the interesting things about Rimsky-Korsakov is that he was primarily an opera composer. People don't realize that because he's so famous as like one of the greatest symphonic orchestrators that ever lived, and he was. His orchestration is stunningly clear and clean and brilliant and fabulously euphonious, and he was a wonderful melodist. He wrote fabulous tunes, often with a Russian folk tinge to them. They're absolutely amazing, and because of that, and because of the fame of his few orchestral works, people don't realize that he wrote well more than a dozen operas. There's 20 or something like that. There's a lot of operas, and most of the pieces that we like, or a lot of the pieces that we like from his output, come from these operas. But I don't have any complete operas on this list because I think that's something you go for once you know that you like Rimsky-Korsakov. Finding them is not easy. I mean, Valery Gergiev made some terrific recordings on Philips, which is now Decca, which is now, they're all out of print, or most of them are. You have to find text. You've got to sit down with them. They're in Russian. It takes, I think, a level of dedication which is beyond that which we should ask for beginners. So, and I really mean that very seriously. So there's a lot of music here from operas, and you can go explore those if you enjoy that music. It's a very good way to get into them, actually, is to listen to the orchestral suites and then take it from there. Let's begin. Scheherazade. Rimsky-Korsakov only wrote 3 orchestral pieces at the end of his career. 3 really mature orchestral pieces, and they're all here. The first is Scheherazade, which is his most famous work. The story comes from 1001 Nights. The Sultan wants to murder all wives after their first evening because he thinks they're all unfaithful, except the Sultaness, Scheherazade, starts telling him stories to pique his interest, and she does it for 1001 nights, and then he finally decides, well, maybe women aren't so bad after all. And each of the 4 movements, which is effectively a symphony, although none of the movements is in a symphonic form, sonata form as we know it, each of the movements illustrates another panel from another story from 1001 Nights. And the actual details are sort of left to your imagination, except at the very end. The first is the sea and Sinbad's ship. The second is the story of the Calendar Prince. We don't know what happens. It's just stuff happens, and you can hear the stuff happening and imagine it yourself. The third movement is a love scene, the young prince and the young princess. And finally, the final finale is the festival at Baghdad, at the climax of which there's a cinematic cut to Sinbad's ship going to pieces on a rock surmounted by a bronze warrior. The ship is magnetically drawn to its destruction during a storm, and the ocean's going crazy, and the waves are swishing, and it's amazing. Absolutely fabulous. So that's what happens. And then the epilogue, the Sultan is pacified, and Scheherazade, who is represented by the solo violin with harp, is sweetly sweetly singing her lullaby at the top at the very top of the violin's register. It's just a glorious piece of music. Absolutely phenomenal. So that's number one. Number two, the Russian Easter Overture. Oh, this is so much fun. It also has one of Rimsky-Korsakov's rather frequent little defects, because he was sort of self-taught and was not formally interested in, like, Western symphonic construction. He tends to have moments of, well, like repetition, or where things just sort of go on a bit. Well, that happens in this overture. The central part of it kind of bogs down for a little bit, but the tunes are fabulous. They come from Russian Orthodox liturgical music. The orchestration is amazing, with bell sounds going crazy, and the ending is absolutely glorious. You've got the Russian Orthodox chant and tam bonging underneath, and the bells glittering on top, and it's just to die for. And you just have to, sort of allow Rimsky-Korsakov to do his repetition thing, because that's what he does. And it's all beautiful. It's all very, very beautiful. And last but not least, the Capriccio Espagnol, one of his most perfect pieces. It's a 4-movement little mini symphony based on Spanish themes, which Rimsky-Korsakov seems to have invented himself. And oh my God, I played castanets in the piece a couple of times. Oh my God, it's fun. It is so much fun, and the tunes are unforgettable. Ya da 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 dum ba, ya da 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 dum ba, da 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 dum. Oh, it's just unforgettable, and it's 16 minutes of more fun than anyone has any right to have. And the ending will just raises the roof. It'll blow you out of your seat. Totally, phenomenally fabulous. So there you go. Those are the 3 late works that he wrote, and really on which his reputation rests. But he also spent a tremendous amount of time arranging the music of his friend and colleague and incredible alcoholic, Modest Mussorgsky. And we have to include, well, at least one of those, because, well, he did the entire opera, Boris Godunov. He reorchestrated it. And for years, centuries, his reorchestration was the version we always heard. Now people go back to Mussorgsky's original orchestration, which is really not very good. But it has certain originally raw primal elements that Rimsky smoothed out. And so it's now considered politically correct to prefer Mussorgsky's original, but Rimsky's version is really good. I mean, who are we kidding? And he also arranged A Night on Bald Mountain by Mussorgsky. But his arrangement, if you know Mussorgsky's original, which went through 400 different versions, and there's no standard text for it, Rimsky's version is the one that we always hear. And, and some other people arranged it too. You hear Leopold Stokowski's version, for example, in Fantasia. But it's wonderfully demonic and spooky and terrific, and absolutely gloriously done. And it really deserves to be regarded at least as much as by Rimsky-Korsakov as Mussorgsky's original. You might say that Mussorgsky had the tunes, and Rimsky put them in order and gave them a wonderfully brilliant orchestral garb. So should be on any short list of Rimsky-Korsakov works. You have to know that element of his achievement. And then we've got 3 opera suites. And oh gosh, are these fun. First, the Golden Cockerel, Le Coq d'Or. I think it was his last opera, actually. It was written after the turn of the 20th century, around 1907, 1905, somewhere in there. And it uses more advanced harmonies. Stravinsky learned an awful lot from Rimsky-Korsakov's operas. In fact, he filched bits from some of them entirely. And it's so great. But the Golden Cockerel is about forget it. They're fairy tales. Most of Rimsky's operas are fairy tales. And that has led to the accusation that he wasn't very good at creating really believable flesh and blood characters in his operas. Maybe that's true, maybe it isn't. I mean, most people don't know his operas well enough to be able to judge, frankly. But his operas tend to be either historical or fantastical. And lots of operas are fantastical, and they're perfectly fine, so nobody has any issue with them. And the suite from the Golden Cockerel has some fantastic tunes in it, and it's brilliantly scored, as all of his music is. So that's a hoot. Then we've got The Legend of Tsar Saltan. Yeah, ooh, that one's also gorgeous. Has big symphonic interludes. There's lots of orchestral music in it. And that's where you will also find The Flight of the Bumblebee, which is not part of the actual suite, but it usually gets tossed in anyway because, well, everybody loves The Flight of the Bumblebee. So that's where that is, in case you're wondering. And it's from Tsar Saltan, and that has 3 huge symphonic portraits, that are interspersed throughout the work. That's definitely something worth hearing. And last but not least, my personal favorite, the Snow Maiden suite. The Snow Maiden, the Snow Maiden. She's made of snow. Her heart's made of ice. She's going to melt. It's Frosty the Snowman in a dress. It's totally wonderful. And it has the Dance of the Buffoons, or the Dance of the Comedians. It's called, translates from Russian in various ways. Da 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 da. And then it has the beautiful secondary theme. Chuck 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 chuck. Da 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 da. I mean, you'll get this stuff in your head. It will never go away. It'll be stuck there forever, and you'll be happy it is. You really will. It's just tremendously fun music. So that is my essential list of Rimsky-Korsakov for beginners. Once again, that's the list. No additions, no subtractions, but feel free to talk about the music on the list because you should know it very well if you're prepared to talk about it one way or another. And if you're just getting started, go there, give these things a listen at your leisure, take your time, and then the sky's the limit. Have a great time because he's an awfully rewarding composer. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.